The Japanese archipelago, an island nation at the edge of East Asia. Today, it is a single country where many people live together. But where did its history truly begin? How did the first inhabitants build this nation? Let's look back at the very beginning of the story together. Approximately 15,000 years ago, as the last ice age came to an end and global temperatures rose, the Japanese archipelago severed from the Eurasian continent, becoming an isolated island nation. The era that unfolded here, lasting for over 10,000 years, is known as the Jomon Period. As the climate stabilized with global warming, vast, deciduous, broadleaf forests flourished across the islands, and shifting ocean currents formed expansive tidal flats along the coasts. This environmental shift provided a continuous, year-round supply of nuts, wild game, and abundant marine life. The necessity to migrate disappeared, establishing a sedentary lifestyle within a hunting and gathering framework. Archaeological layouts reveal their settlements were highly organized, with pit dwellings arranged evenly in a circle around a central plaza. No exceptionally large structures exist to indicate a distinct ruling class or concentration of wealth. This demonstrates a sharing mechanism that functioned to distribute acquired resources evenly, rather than allowing individuals to monopolize them. In recent years, this era has drawn intense interest from archaeologists around the world. This is because it conceals a staggering mystery in the history of humankind. In many other parts of the world, the dawn of agriculture led people to settle in one place. At the exact same time, fierce conflicts erupted over land and water resources. Yet, in the Japanese archipelago, the analysis of thousands of human remains excavated from this era reveals something extraordinary. There is almost no evidence of casualties from large-scale armed conflicts. In other words, war. Behind this social structure lay their distinct worldview, animism, the belief that invisible spirits inhabit all natural elements, from animals and plants to rocks and weather. Nature was not an object to be controlled, but a living entity to coexist with. This profound reverence for nature left a vivid imprint on the tools they crafted. The most iconic examples are the Jomon pottery vessels, particularly the flame-style pottery of the mid-Jomon period. Moving far beyond utilitarian wear, these vessels feature intricate, three-dimensional decorations resembling blazing fires or writhing creatures. This powerful, dynamic sculpting is recognized as an attempt to capture the raw energy of nature and spiritual forces directly into the clay. A stable livelihood secured by environmental adaptation, leading to settled life and an egalitarian system of sharing. This social code and rich artistic expression, chosen by a people without a written language, marked the very first step in the history of the archipelago. However, this peaceful equilibrium would eventually face a massive turning point. From across the sea, a wave of unknown technologies arrived, destined to fundamentally reshape the islands. Centuries before the Common Era, two revolutionary elements crossed the sea to reach the Japanese archipelago: aquatic rice cultivation and metallurgy, specifically bronze and iron. With their arrival, the islands transitioned into the Yayoi Period. Across the distant sea, fleeing the chaos of a turbulent continent, came a people who risked everything to reach these shores. What they carried in their hands was far more than a single grain of rice: the technology to master water and unknown tools to till the earth. These did not clash with the wisdom of the Jomon who lived upon this land. Instead, they merged, quietly, gently, and surely. The introduction of rice cultivation dramatically increased the stability of human life, yet it simultaneously introduced unprecedented challenges to the social order. Unlike the yields of hunting and gathering, rice can be stored and accumulated over long periods. Consequently, disparities in land fertility and stored grain began to generate a clear imbalance of wealth between different settlements. This concentration of wealth soon escalated into severe conflicts over the ownership of fertile land and water sources. This marked the definitive beginning of warfare on the archipelago, a phenomenon absent in the Jomon era. Across the landscape, settlements surrounded by deep defensive moats and wooden palisades emerged, accelerating the consolidation of villages through military force. As fragmented settlements merged through conflict into regional powers, society faced a critical demand: a new system to halt escalating warfare and unify vast territories. In the 3rd century, the Chinese historical chronicle Weiji Wanzhuan, Records of Wei, notes that the people of Wa unified under a single female ruler to bring an end to decades of protracted warfare. That ruler was Queen Himiko of Yamato. She maintained control not through military might, but through ritual and divination. To the people of that era, a leader capable of reading the will of the gods and forecasting the weather, the single most critical factor for agricultural survival, was a highly rational authority worthy of allegiance. This was the initial framework of governance, born from wealth and warfare. However, this loose confederation bound by ritual would soon evolve into a far more rigid political power, centered in the Kinki region. By the 4th century, the governing structure of the archipelago transitioned into a far more centralized authority. A powerful political entity known as the Yamato Court emerged in the Kinki region, and as the ultimate symbol of its dominance, unique keyhole-shaped burial mounds, or Kofun, began appearing across the islands. This marked the definitive turn into the Kofun Period. The construction of these monumental tombs, the largest of which exceed 400 meters in length, demanded immense labor forces, advanced civil engineering, and a bureaucratic capacity to organize and manage them. In an era devoid of written language, these overwhelming structures functioned as political instruments, designed to visually demonstrate the supreme authority of the Yamato Court to both the populace and rival factions. The reality that these burial mounds were constructed using a standardized keyhole design nationwide reveals a profound historical truth. Regional chieftains had integrated under the central authority of the Yamato Court, completing a vast, unified political network across the islands. A 10,000-year sedentary life rooted in shared resources, the arrival of rice cultivation bringing wealth and conflict, and the evolution of authority from spiritual ritual to monumental architecture. Japan's early inhabitants shaped the contours of a nation through these distinct stages, adapting continuously to environmental shifts. Upon the foundations of this highly organized society, written language and legal codes would eventually be introduced from the continent, driving the islands forward into the turbulent eras of the ancient state.